Hello guys, Saiyan Recap is here. In today's video I am going to explain to you 2013 release anime romance drama movie called Garden of Words. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. This movie begins in Tokyo at the beginning of the rainy season in June. A first-year high school student named Takao Akizuki skips class because of the rain. After getting off the train, he takes shelter from the rain at a gazebo in Shinjuku Gyoen Park while sketching women's shoes. He wants to be a famous shoe designer and works part-time to fulfill that dream. He met Yukari Yukino, a 27-year-old woman who also decided not to work in order to enjoy beer and chocolate at the park. The shoe sketched by Akizuki was apparently Yukari's shoe. After seeing the beer and chocolate, and seeing Akizuki's school crest on his uniform, Akizuki felt as though he had encountered Yukino. Yukino said farewell to Akizuki using tanka, or Japanese poetry. A faint clap of thunder, clouded skies. Perhaps rain comes. If so, will you stay here with me? Yukino then walked away from the befuddled Akizuki. At the home, after being abandoned by their mother, who wrote them a note advising them not to look for her, Akizuki now shares a home with his elder brother. Akizuki's older brother presumably informed him about his intention to move out to live together with his girlfriend, leaving him alone. Their mother supposedly abandoned them because she was upset, disapproved of their older brother's plan to move out, and their mother also moved in with her teenage lover, while working on a pair of shoes. In his spare time, Akizuki inquired his brother about the poetry that Yukino had told him. However, it also appears that his elder sibling is clueless about it. The following day, rain dropped once more, which pleased Akizuki, because he can once more avoid class. Yukino was already in the park. Yukino eventually speaks to Takao about skipping. Yukino skipped work while Takao skipped study. After observing him become intensely concentrated on sketching his shoe. Following their brief conversation, Takao bid Yukino farewell because he needed to leave for the next class since he only missed the morning's first class. Yukino longed for the chance to meet Akizuki once more in the pouring rain, and her wish was granted as they encountered each other again on a rainy morning. This continued for several days, during which they grew increasingly intimate. Eventually, Akizuki opened up to Yukino and shared his dream of becoming a shoe designer, making her the first person to learn of his aspiration. Akizuki's teacher at school often reprimanded him for his habitual truancy, particularly during morning classes. However, Akizuki remained unfazed by these scoldings. In fact, he found himself looking forward to the rainy days, as they offered him a chance to skip class and meet with Yukino once more. As he spent more time with her, he began to develop feelings for her. Despite their significant age difference, Akizuki and Yukino met at the park again the next morning. Akizuki noticed that Yukino appeared to be keeping something from him, leading him to believe that she had been fired due to her frequent absences. Concerned for her, they abandoned their usual routine of drinking beer in the morning and began sharing breakfast that they had each brought. While trying Yukino's food, Akizuki commented that it wasn't good, despite her having done her best to prepare it. Eventually, Akizuki became so full that he fell asleep and dreamt about his childhood, particularly about his parents' divorce. As a kind gesture, Akizuki gave his mother a beautiful pair of shoes as a birthday present. Upon arriving home, Yukino received a phone call from her ex-boyfriend, Takao. He inquired about her well-being and asked about her resignation from work. Yukino was disappointed with him, as he seemed to place more trust in the opinions of others rather than in her own words. Additionally, Yukino lied to Takao about Akizuki, telling him that he was an elderly woman she accompanied to the park. The next morning, Yukino woke up to the sound of rain and became excited at the prospect of cooking breakfast for Akizuki. She brought the meal to the park, where she also gave him an expensive magazine about handmade shoes. This greatly excited Akizuki, who then shared his aspiration to create a pair of women's shoes, though he was unsure who to give them to. Yukino immediately agreed to be the first recipient of Akizuki's shoes. Takao measured Yukino's feet to create a pair of shoes for her. Despite meeting with her for a month, Akizuki did not know Yukino's name, age, occupation, or why she skipped class every morning. As time passed, Akizuki realized that he was in love with Yukino. At a cafe, Yukino overheard that the rainy season was coming to an end. Although she was glad that Akizuki would no longer have to skip class, she also felt sad that their time together in the park would end. One sunny morning during the summer, Yukino returned to the park and noticed that Akizuki was not there. The absence of Akizuki made the park feel very different for her, with only a couple there enjoying the scenery. Meanwhile, Akizuki had been invited to dinner by his older brother and his girlfriend to help them move into their new home. Despite his brother's invitation, Akizuki declined the offer because he had a part-time job that day. That day marked the first time that Akizuki had lived alone in his house. During summer vacation, Yukino woke up disappointed that it was no longer raining. Meanwhile, Akizuki used his holiday time to work and save money for college and to buy equipment to make shoes. Akizuki missed Yukino and continued making the shoes for her during his free time. September arrived, and vacation came to an end. Akizuki returned to school and was walking with his friends, Matsumoto and Sato, when they saw two teachers walking out of the principal's office. Sato told Akizuki that Yukino was a teacher at their school and had been absent for a long time. The other female students were also missing her, and they were worried about her. It turned out that Yukino was the literature teacher for the third-grade students, and that day was her last day of teaching. Matsumoto informed Akizuki about Yukino's situation on the school roof, and Akizuki admitted that he didn't know her. Matsumoto explained that it was understandable since Takara taught literature in his class, not Yukino. They learned that Yukino was having problems with some of the third-year girls because one of their boyfriends had fallen for her. Yukino was forced to leave school because the girls spread rumors about her to the point that even her parents became aware of them. To prevent further problems, she decided to resign from that school. Upon learning of Yukino's situation, Akizuki inquired about the name of the third-year student who caused her suffering. When Akizuki confronted the student, she ridiculed Yukino, causing Akizuki to become enraged and slap her. The student's boyfriend then attacked Akizuki, claiming that she would be the next one to harm Yukino. On a bright day thereafter, Akizuki went to the park with the hope of encountering Yukino. He realized that he had never confessed his feelings to Yukino and that he might never see her again. Yukino was surprised by Akizuki's arrival at the park, but he then recited a poem from the Manyoshu collection, the 2514th poem, which expressed his willingness to stay with her even if it didn't rain. This was in response to the poem Yukino had read to him during their first encounter, indicating that she had hoped he would come to the park despite the lack of rain. After apologizing to Akizuki and inquiring about his injuries, a sudden clap of thunder was heard and it started raining heavily, prompting them to take shelter at Yukino's nearby apartment. After cooking a meal and enjoying each other's company at Yukino's apartment, Akizuki confessed his feelings to her. Although Yukino was moved, she reminded him that she was a teacher who would be returning to her hometown in Shikoku. Upon hearing her rejection, Akizuki chose to leave despite Yukino's attempts to stop him due to the heavy rain. As Yukino thought back on their time together, she wept and decided to chase after him barefoot. She found Akizuki under the stairs expressing regret for ever having met her, referring to her as a strange woman who drank beer and had a poem that was difficult to understand. As a student, Akizuki regretted opening up to Yukino after learning she was a teacher, feeling he had shared too much. Overcome with emotion, Yukino held him tightly and shared that he had saved her from the sadness and fear of going to school every day, leading her to develop feelings for him. The film's closing scene features Motohiro Hata's song, Rain, while the credits show Akizuki working hard to achieve his dreams despite struggling in school and making shoes. He wonders how Yukino is doing, while she continues to teach at a school in Shikoku. In a post-credit scene, Akizuki returns to the park during winter to read a letter from Yukino and leaves the shoes he made for her on the bench, promising to visit her in Shikoku once he has achieved more success in his career. Okay guys, this is the end of the video. Hope you liked that movie recap story. Please like this and subscribe our channel for more. It only takes 1 second, but that's lots for me. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.